Days kicks off today in Fort Scott, Kansas. We bring you here live.
And as Tanya mentioned, we are live in downtown Fort Scott for Good Old Days. It is warm, it is muggy out here, and we've got additional pop-up thunderstorm chances. We'll let you know when they're going to get here coming up.
And the bill to lift the debt ceiling heads to the president's desk.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We are live in downtown Fort Scott for the start of Good Old Days this afternoon. The festival starts with the parade at 6 p.m. on Main Street. Thanks for joining us for the KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. We are live in downtown Fort Scott for the start of Good Old Days. This is the 42nd year for Good Old Days. According to festival organizers, the event started in the 1800s. It was discontinued and then resurrected in 1981. And while it's meant to celebrate Fort Scott's past, it brings in visitors from outside Bourbon County as well. We'll have more about what to expect this weekend at Good Old Days later in the show. Right now, I'm joined with Chris here for a first look at the weather, and it's going to be a warm weekend.
It is certainly going to be a warm weekend. It is already warm and muggy right now. That's why it's so nice that we have this comfortable tent, because you put your arm out here in the sun, and it's a lot hotter. Let's take a look at what we are expecting for us today. Right now, live look at the MoDOT camera at 32nd and Range Line back in Joplin, showing a few of those puffy clouds out there. And if we take a look at the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, still plentiful sunshine. We're starting to settle into those partly cloudy skies. Yesterday started the day at 66, made it up to 88, still not at record levels, but much warmer than what we should be for this time of year. We're 85 here in Fort Scott, 85 Parsons and Oswego, 84 Miami and Neosho, sitting at 86 in Joplin and Carthage. And for Good Old Days today, we're still looking at a high upper 80s. We'll have those pop-up storms later today into the afternoon and evening hours. And then as we head into tomorrow, another partly cloudy day, a little bit warmer, closer to 90 outside. And we do have those scattered thunderstorm chances as well across the area. We still are, again, tracking the isolated pop-up storms for us today. We'll have better storm chances, especially in parts of southeast Kansas, as we head into tomorrow, and temperatures continue to remain warm. So we have those rain chances, something we're going to keep an eye on. Don't cancel your plans if you're coming out here to Fort Scott. Don't cancel it. Do keep an eye on the sky. Keep the Skywatch weather app handy. Otherwise, it's going to be nice, warm, and partly cloudy. It's not bad at all.
If anything, if we do get a little bit of sprinkles, it'll make it feel nice.
At least for a few moments, yeah.
There you go. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, the search continues this afternoon for an armed and dangerous escapee from the Berry County, Missouri jail. Take a look at this mugshot. Berry County deputies are looking for Mario Chatiol. He was in the county jail for child molestation charges. The sheriff's office said he was one in a group of inmates that overpowered and assaulted 2 correctional officers late last night. All the other escapees are back in custody. Again, Chatiol is considered armed and dangerous. If you have any information about his location, you're asked to call the police. And police in Parsons, Kansas have arrested a man who they say was involved in several incidents on Wednesday, including an exchange of gunfire. That man is Stederish Herman. Authorities say Wednesday morning he used a hatchet to destroy a vehicle and then committed another criminal damage incident at a different location before leading police on a chase. He escaped, but was later identified as one of the suspects in an exchange of gunfire that hit multiple homes, a vehicle, and a business. Again, he fled the scene, but he left behind his sister, Bernia Herman, who was arrested and charged with aiding and abetting attempted murder in the first degree. Authorities say 2 people are dead after a crash near Cassville. It happened Wednesday night on Highway 248, just outside of town. Missouri Highway Patrol reports the driver, Ryland Wilson of Cassville, lost control of his motorcycle. Both Wilson and a juvenile were thrown from it when the motorcycle hit an embankment. The juvenile was pronounced dead on scene. Wilson was taken to Mercy Hospital in Springfield, where he later died. City of Miami selects a new fire chief. Chris Chenoweth started as a Miami firefighter in 2013, and he was promoted to deputy chief in 2022. The fire department is staffed by 23 firefighters. Chenoweth said he plans for more aggressive training before the end of the year to prepare for more specific situations, such as the tower collapses and water rescue situations. President Biden addresses the nation tonight. And now that Congress has finally raised the debt ceiling with the passage of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. Natalie Brand reports from Washington, D.C.
Calling it a big win for the American people, President Biden is promising to sign as soon as possible the bill that raises the nation's debt ceiling and avoids a government default.
On this vote, the yeas are 63, the nays are 36. The 60-vote threshold having been achieved, the bill is passed.
The Senate passed the legislation late Thursday with bipartisan support, even as 31 Republicans, 4 Democrats, and Senator Bernie Sanders voted against it.
We may be a little tired, but we did it.
President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy brokered the deal, which cleared the Senate quickly despite a last-minute push to tack on various amendments.
The Biden-McCarthy deal is not conservative in any way, shape, or form.
This isn't the piece of legislation I would write, but at the same time, we can't risk defaulting on the full faith and credit of the United States.
Senators did secure a commitment from leaders to consider emergency spending down the road and additional military aid to support the war in Ukraine.
Navy.
Republican Lindsey Graham was among those pressing for more defense spending.
There's not a penny in this budget to help beat Putin.
The bill now heads to the White House just ahead of Monday's deadline, when the Treasury Secretary said the U.S. would start running short of cash to pay its bills. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The Biden administration is hoping to get Russia to the table for nuclear arms control talks. Earlier this year, President Vladimir Putin pulled Russia's participation from the START treaty, but the U.S. wants to draw Moscow back. A major speech Friday by U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan could push Russia towards discussions. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, we get a rundown of what you can expect at this year's Good Old Days celebration. And later, we're celebrating National Donut Day and making donut bread pudding in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. We are in downtown Fort Scott, where the Good Old Days Festival is getting underway today. And I'm joined now by festival organizer Sean O'Brien. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. We're excited.
I'm very excited to be here. This is awesome that we were able to take our noon show on the road and have you join us for it.
We're happy you're here.
Tell me what's new here this year or what events can people expect this weekend?
This year we have a new stage that we set up at First and Main, so there will be live entertainment there tonight at 7 o'clock, and then we also start entertainment tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., and then we'll have entertainment at 2 o'clock and then 7 o'clock. So lots of good names. A lot of music in the entertainment. What other things can people expect? Food trucks? Of course, we have food trucks, we have craft vendors. Our streets will be full from Skubitz Plaza at the Fort all the way to 3rd and Main. And then we have just lots of activities for the kids and adults. There will be a car show at the Riverfront Park. Just great activities that we're excited about. Okay, a lot of fun. What age range would you recommend people coming out for? Every age range. Come on, Tanya. I know. we want to entice everybody. We have kids activities, caricature drawing, balloon artists, many activities for everyone. The car show for the older generation to see, those old cars and classics. The entertainment is for all ages. Zane Grimes, Bobby Dagonia, Whiskey Outlaw. I'll throw out the names there. Bill and Monica's Excellent Adventure. I'm sure you've heard of them. They're great groups. Yeah. And we're excited to have them. So that's awesome. And what does it mean for the community to have everybody come together this weekend? This is our one weekend that we all get to come out and celebrate our city and our town. And 42 years ago they began this, and here we are back to the bricks. And so we're keeping everything on the bricks this year. We're going to keep that weather away, so no pop-ups, no thunderstorms, and we're going to have a great weekend, so come out and celebrate with us. All right, and I think it'll be wonderful, and people can just bring an umbrella if they need to, and like we said, it'll be perfect to cool off a little bit. It'll be nice. That'll be great. All right, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure you're ready to get back to work. Of course, thank you. All right, thanks. All right.
Well, there's a lot going on this weekend in Fort Scott, but still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
We couldn't let National Donut Day slip away without sharing one of our favorite recipes with you. It's so good, you won't want to miss it.
But first, we're continuing to track pop-up thunderstorms across the area. Will they impact your weekend festivities? We'll have that forecast after the break. Welcome back to the KOAM News at Noon. We are live in historic downtown Fort Scott for Fort Scott's good old days. So far, pretty decent out here. It's warm, it's muggy, it's partly cloudy, and we have the chance for some pop-up thunderstorms. That's the thing to keep in mind, pop-up thunderstorms. It doesn't mean rain everywhere all at once, but it is something to keep an eye on across the area. So let's take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. You can see we've actually got a pop-up storm over there in Elk County. If we get a little closer, you can see some of these little pop-ups just starting to get going around the area. And I'm kind of pointing at them there for you. And I just noticed, too, if we track over just a little bit into the Missouri side, yeah, we're starting to see some of those developments take place. So pop-up storms are going to continue to be the theme as we go into the afternoon and into the evening hours. So again, not everywhere all at once, but do keep an eye to the sky. Keep the Skywatch weather app handy because it will alert you if there's lightning or anything like that close by. Even as we head into later this evening, we could see a couple of additional storms try and develop on the Missouri side, but because there's no more daytime heating, they will not be long-lived. And as we head into our Saturday, we start to see better opportunities for more organized, more meaningful rainfall, at least in southeast Kansas. So west of Highway 69, kind of even maybe west of Highway 7 and back down in northeast Oklahoma, could see a little more organized shower and thunderstorm activity, at least for a little bit in the afternoon before we revert back to pop-up storms across the area. The good news is at this point, too, not anticipating any strong or severe thunderstorms in the area. We go into Sunday afternoon, pop-up storm chances return across the area, so that's something else we'll keep an eye on. And we're going to maintain pop-up thunderstorm chances for a while. Mode on camera, 32nd in range line. We are showing partly cloudy skies and sunny. Same from our camera right outside the KOAM TV studios. And the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, also looking good. Plentiful sunshine, warm and muggy for sure. Our camera, 7th in range line. This looks almost like yesterday with those partly cloudy skies. 86, feels like 87. Dew point is up there. Humidity's down a little bit. Over in Pittsburgh, we are currently sitting at 85, feeling like 87. Humidity's up just a bit higher than in Joplin, and we still have that mid-60s dew point. Temperatures around the region, we're at 85 here in Fort Scott, 85 Parsons, Chatopa, 84 in Miami and Neosho. And if we factor in these dew points, which are in the mid and upper 60s for the most part, that puts us in that sticky to muggy range, so definitely feeling it. We go through the rest of today. Again, we've got those pop-up thunderstorm chances, otherwise partly cloudy, highs getting close to 90 degrees. And as we head into this evening, we're looking at the upper 60s for overnight lows and partly cloudy skies once these things clear out. Still warm tomorrow, pushing near 90 again with those afternoon pop-up thunderstorm chances. You can see them there on the 7 to 7. And we'll take a quick look at our 7-day forecast. So we're pushing low 90s by Sunday, bringing on to mid-80s with those thunderstorm chances. A break on Wednesday. Pop-up storm chances return toward the end of next week into the weekend, and our highs return upper 80s, lower 90s. So summer definitely kicking in right here in the 4 states for sure. And of course, with those summertime heat, that's why we get these pop-up storm chances.
And it's a good reminder with the heat, especially this weekend. If you do come out to good old days or decide to do whatever you decide to do this weekend, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Absolutely. And dress appropriately because it's going to be warm, it's going to be muggy.
All right. Just take precautions. Well, stick around. We're celebrating National Donut Day in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen after the break. But first, here's a look at some good old days events. Well, if you thought glazed donuts were good on their own, wait till you use them to make today's donut bread pudding. We're celebrating National Donut Day in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Last year, Americans ate more than 380 million donuts. Sounds crazy, huh? And with today being National Donut Day, I thought I'd share one of my favorite go-to recipes that highlights donuts in a whole new way. We start off by cutting a dozen glazed donuts into chunks. And if we want to save a buck or two, we can even pick up day-old ones, which are always cheaper and work just as well here. After tossing in some raisins, we pour on a mixture that we made by combining some sweetened condensed milk, a couple of eggs, a bit of vanilla, a little cinnamon, and a pinch of salt. Once that sits for about 5 minutes, we pour it into a baking dish, cover it with foil, and pop it in the oven. And after about 40 minutes, we'll uncover it and let it finish baking until the center is set. When this comes out of the oven all bubbling hot, we drizzle it with a 2-ingredient glaze and get ready for some good eating. So here's what I suggest. Go online and get the recipe for what we call donut bread pudding as a way to celebrate National Donut Day today, or really any day. And if you're wondering how many calories it has, don't ask. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a donut lover's way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. You love them donuts.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
We are live here in historic downtown Fort Scott for good old days, so make sure you come out and check this out this weekend. Quick look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker, and you can see we've got those pop-up thunderstorms getting going across parts of southeast Kansas, and we've been seeing some activity try to get going on the Missouri side. It's going to stay hot, though, across the areas. Temperatures, again, warm close to 90 degrees, lower 90s on Sunday. More thunderstorms Saturday. Pop-up storms for Tuesday. Again on Thursday, temperatures again mid-upper 80s across the area. So very warm, very muggy, and some thunderstorms out there here and there.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, coming up tonight at 5, National Cancer Survivors Day is this Sunday. More than 18 million people in the U.S. are living with a history of cancer. Exercise is recommended for survivors before, during, and after cancer treatment. We'll meet a group taking it step by step. Plus, a Miami luxury coach RV company is planning a $7.5 million expansion, and kids line the banks of the Neosho National Fish Hatchery, hoping to reel in a big one. Join us for those stories and much more tonight on the KOAM News at 5.
We want to thank you so much for joining us here for the KOAM News at noon in historic downtown Fort Scott.
Yes, exciting to be here for the kickoff of Fort Scott Good Old Days. The rest of the team will join us back here at 5 o'clock.